I became the #1 sprinter in Mississippi and the #1 sales agent in my company using the exact same 3 steps. Most people wait for success to happen before they feel like a winner. They have it backwards. You have to feel the win in your mind before you step onto the field. Your subconscious runs a blueprint. If yours is set at average, you're running with the emergency brake on. Here's is the #1 blueprint. See, sense, and feel. See the win in high definition. Sense the environment, the sounds, the smell, and feel the emotional certainty of the result. Do this 5 minutes every morning. Stop performing for the result and start transforming your reality. Listen to this podcast on the LGET mindset now. I'm Curtis McCullom. Be legit. Most people think hypnosis is something someone does to you on stage. They think it's like you're clucking like a chicken. But what if? What if I told you that you are already in hypnosis multiple times a day? It's either the reason you're winning or the reason you're stuck. Every success story has a chapter that most people never hear. That's the one between the breakdown and the breakthrough. Welcome to the LGET Mindset Podcast, where we talk about those hidden chapters, the failures, the lessons, and the breakthroughs that make success real. I'm Curtis McCullom, certified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm the founder of Bespoke Human Potential Coaching and the creator of the LGET Mindset. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the invisible edge that took me from the tracks of Mississippi to the top of the insurance world. Why does this matter? Because before I even knew the word hypnosis, I was already using it. As a young athlete, I used to use trance, seeing, sensing, and feeling the wind before it actually happened. I became number one in the state of Mississippi in the 400 meter as a sprinter, long before I knew anything. It wasn't a straight path to the finish line. It was filled with setbacks and heartbreaks and failures. I remember as though it was yesterday. At the beginning of that season, we were practicing and I was running, and all of a sudden, I suffered a severe hamstring injury that actually sidelined me for the whole year. But I never lost focus of the objective. And by the end of the year, I won. I became the #1 in the state of Mississippi. Later on in my life, a friend of mine, Keith Robinson, introduced me to a book or to a recording by Dick Sufton, one of the greatest hypnosis practitioners that I've known. He was the American's leading past life therapist. And by applying those principles of ultra monetary success, man, that was my go-to during that period of time in my life, where I did sleep programming with them. So I had this little pillow. I had a pillow, and then I had a little speaker that goes underneath the pillow. So I used to listen to it as a sleep programming. And then I used to wake up to this recording and this hypnosis, this programming during the day, and listen to this hypnosis during the day. And I became the #1 agent in the IOF Foresters in less than 18 months, breaking company records along the way. But that year was also laced with heartbreaks, failures, and setbacks. I had a horrific car accident, totaling my car. I mean, it was pretty bad. I remember flying through the air at 70 miles an hour and landing on the roof and going down the freeway in the Los Angeles area. That was a frightening moment. Then a few months later, my daughter was born, and because of some complications, she was in the intensive care for about 2 weeks. And coming to the final months of the year, I was trailing the number one person at the time, the leading agent, by more than 100,000 production credits. Let me put that in perspective, guys. The perspective is this. On a normal month, or really a high month, most individuals did about $30,000 in production credits. And I was $100,000 back at that time. And I overcame that. I saw, sensed, and felt exactly what I needed to do, exact amount of production I needed to do to overcome them. And I think I won about 5,000 production credits. And this is what I realized. I realized that performance isn't just about trying harder. It's about aligning the subconscious mind with your conscious goals. If you don't master your internal state, you're performing a role instead of transforming your reality. Let's look at this and define this hypnosis actually through the LGET mindset framework, through the lens of the LGET mindset framework. First, it's learning. Learning, as you remember, it's about awareness. So hypnosis is just focused attention. And we all do it all during the day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day. Have you ever been driving? You ever been driving and on the freeway and realized that you've traveled about 5 miles without thinking about it? It's just going, and everything is that's what we call highway trance. Your subconscious took the wheel while your conscious mind kind of drifted. That's a natural state where the gate, the subconscious of the gate of the subconscious is wide open. Your critical mind is wide open, and it just takes over and allows you to continue to drive without even thinking about it. Or you've been in a movie where you're totally engrossed in a movie and you forget that's actually a movie, but you're still crying. You're still experiencing whatever's happening in the movie at the time, where you have disbanded, your critical mind has stopped working, and your subconscious mind is conjuring up all the memories and the thoughts that create these emotions in your body. And so you are actually experiencing it as it's happening right now. That's the learning part. Then we have growing. Growing is the releasing the resistance. When we use trance, we use it on purpose and with purpose. But the reason we use trance is to kind of mute the critical faculty. What do I mean by that? You know, that part of your mind, that inner critic, kind of just says, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not what all of these things, that all these personal lies we tell ourselves. Well, when we are trying to reach a goal or objective, if that's in the forefront of our minds, that means that we cannot focus on the objective that we're trying to focus on. So what we do, we use trance in order to quieten that mind, so that it's almost like turning down the static on the radio. For those who used to use radios, I know most of you might have forgot about a radio, but it's almost like if you used to tune a radio, it's like turning down the static, so you can finally hear the instructions clearly. And that's what we want to do. We want to disband the static, the noise, so that now we're only talking to the part of your mind that actually can control your behavior on a deeper level. Now, advertisers have really gotten good at this. I mean, they are really good at this, especially when it comes to pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceutical commercials, and you have to be extremely cognizant of this, guys. They help you release the resistance of your critical mind by playing music or having this skit while they're talking. So what they do, they anchor you in this funny skit, or they anchor you in this music, or music that you're so accustomed to, and you're there dancing and looking and laughing at the skit. What you've done now, you have released, your critical mind has been released, and now what they're doing, they're focusing, your mind's now focusing on the music and on the skit, Well, they are now programming you by normalizing illness. They're letting you know all these bad things about illness, that it's okay. It's almost like this. It's what they're doing now is like, it's okay to be ill, but we're going to give you a medication to kind of normalize it so you can continue to do all the things you want to do and continue to eat like you want to eat. And we just take this medication for the rest of your life. But the other part about it is that if you're taking one medication, more than likely you might have to take another medication, then you have to take another medication. To think about this for a second. Why would someone spend billions of dollars advertising something that you cannot buy? I want you to let that sink in for a minute. Why would someone spend billions of dollars on a commercial or an advertising on something you cannot go out and buy? It's not like Tylenol where you can go to the grocery store, go to a drugstore, pick it up because you have a headache. These are medications that's dealing with illnesses that most of us have never heard of before. So why are they doing that? Just think about that. Just think about why. Why would you think someone be doing it? What type of programming are they actually trying to embed in our minds when they do something like that? Then we got the expanding. Expanding is actually the perspective, expanding the perspective. This is where you have the mental rehearsal. You've seen golfers. It's like a golfer seeing the ball kind of drop into the hole before they even hit it. It's like a basketball player. Have you seen those basketball players? They're sitting there and are bouncing the ball, boom, boom, boom. Then they see and sensing and feeling that the ball is going through the net. And so they see it going through the net before the ball actually goes through the net. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about seeing and sensing, preparing the shot before the shot is actually made. And that's what I used to do on the track. I used to see the entire race in my mind. I used to picture where in the race, because when you're running the 400 meters, you better know what you're doing, because that's not a race just for anybody to do. I can tell you that right now. So it's a strategic race where you have to be able to get out fast, go down the back straight at certain speed, then coming back into the last curve, and then you want to kind of put it on right at the end. And then we used to laugh about that, because sometimes if a person ran out too quickly, we said the bear is going to get them. It's like something heavy is going to get on their backs, because they didn't prepare. They didn't see it like they needed to see it. But the whole idea is seeing the race through just like you want to run the race, that you can run a really smooth race even before you even get on the track. So I saw the tape hitting my chest while still in the blocks. You are rewiring your internal map for success. Then we come to transforming. Transforming is the integration. This is your new normal. It's like now you're driving a car without effort. I remember when I first got my first car. I don't know if you remember got your first car. My first car was a stick shift. And in driving a stick shift, you have to think. You have the gas, you have the brake, you have the clutch, and you're still driving, right? You have the signals and all that stuff. So I remember it was all thinking really, really difficult. I got the shift now. Okay, I got to put my feet on the gas, get the right pressure to make sure I move the car. It doesn't stall out. And then all of a sudden, about a month or two or three or four, long afterwards, all of a sudden I'm driving, boom, 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 driving, stick shift, moving, because now my subconscious mind is working it. You stop thinking, you stop trying to be successful, because you simply start operating as a success. And that's the difference. This episode is brought to you by Bespoke Human Potential Coaching. If you're a CEO, a founder, or an entrepreneur who has had or achieved success on the surface success, but still feels a little disconnected inside, it's time for you to stop performing and start transforming. We help you identify that invisible pattern blocking your growth, utilizing the power of hypnotherapy and mental and emotional release, or MER, so you can operate with true alignment. Visit Bespoke Human Potential Coaching. You'll see on the right-hand corner, click that button that says, hey, book your free 15-minute call today, your clarity call, your get to know me call. Let's make your next breakthrough legit. Back to the show. How can you start today using this edge? How can you start using this edge today? First, I want you to start to identify your natural trance. Notice when you kind of zone out. Notice or when you're in the zone, those moments during the day where everything just clicks for you. You making the right calls, you're making the right, you just everything just running smooth. Or it could be driving, it could be showering, it could be any time during the day. I want you to stop and to identify your natural trance, because we all go through trance that time you're daydreaming. We all go through trance many times during the day. This is when your subconscious mind is most susceptible. Number two, I want you to see, sense, and feel method. I want you to spend 5 minutes every morning, not just thinking about your goal, but sensing the environment and feeling the emotions of the wind. I want you to become totally associated with it. This is such a powerful way of thinking. I do this all the time where I stop and just totally see, sense, and feel myself in the moment. I see myself winning a call. I see what objections someone might be asking me at the time. And then I'm easily overcoming those objections. All the things that you want to happen like you want them to happen. I want you to stop and do that. The see, sense, and feel method. It's a powerful way of being. And the third one is to audit your inputs. This is the most powerful. Your mind is highly suggestible, guys. It's very highly suggestible right before you go to bed and right after you wake up in the morning. These are two times in your life where you can actually start to do some powerful program. So I want you to stop feeding the stress at that time and start feeding it with what the potential can be. And like I said, this is a great opportunity to give yourself a really positive affirmation or suggestion. See and sense yourself actually becoming that. What happens if you master this? You stop fighting against your own mind. When your subconscious believes you are number one, like I did before, your body and your business will flow and follow suit. Take a moment. Take a moment this week and ask yourself, where in my life am I performing instead of transforming? Because that awareness, that's where real change begins. Ready to move from performing to transforming? Visit my website at Bespoke Human Potential Coaching to book your free 15-minute clarity call. This is just a get to know you call. And if this message resonated, follow and share it with someone who's on their own breakthrough season. This is the Legit Mindset Podcast. Failures, lessons, and breakthroughs. Real stories, real setbacks, real growth. I'm Curtis McCullom. Be legit.